Well, there we go. An emergency edition, switching over computers from one to the other. That computer we're not having a whole lot of luck on. So if you could, let me know if you can hear me. Literally, I just turned this computer on as fast as I could to get something, anything going for the Ysn Power Hour. DJ Yoakley with you. Appreciate you hanging with us here today. I'm going to do some skirting around. So please, as I adjust this, please hang tight. We're still doing the internet issues here until we get them fixed. There we go. A little table for us. All right. It is a Tuesday edition of the YSN Power Hour. Again, I'm with you, here for you. Appreciate you hanging out here at our facility here in athletics, the athletic studios. Yesterday was an off day for yours truly. A lot going on, and some of that we're going to unpack here in a little bit. But I can tell you that on Friday and Saturday, there was some serious, and I mean serious, question marks and oohs and ahs coming from YSN and all the guys here. Incredible to see some of these upsets. Incredible to see some of these upsets we saw all across the board. When you're talking about, I don't know if it qualifies as an upset, but for the first time since 2019, South Range Raiders falling short in the regular season was kind of an eyebrow raiser for some people, both for good and for bad. I think they're going to be just fine. I really do. I think they've got a nice, tough test this week against a young JFK team that's trying to get their feet underneath them as well. So I think this is a game of the night type atmosphere that we're going to see at Rominger Stadium on Friday. But you look at what happened on Saturday, and there are a lot of people saying running clock, a lot of people saying this is a pushover for Valley Christian to beat LeBray. Let me tell you, LeBray showed up to play, and the defense was as stingy as grandma at Christmas. I mean, it was awesome to see, and you wanted a good game. You didn't know really which way it was going to go, but for LeBray to shut down the running game and to shut down what Coach Hake and the Eagles had to offer, they made a name for themselves. They put themselves on the map this year with that one game alone. That one game alone has everybody talking, because there were people, yours truly included, that had Valley going 10-0. That had Valley clean sweep across the entire season, and now that's not feasible. Now they got to get back to the drawing boards and figure out what went wrong, how to correct it with one of the best backs in the entire area in Jay-Sean Lindsay. How does Valley respond? How does LeBray keep chucking down the road, keep one foot in front of the other, and keep moving down the road, so that way this could be not just a rebuilding year and a reloading year for the program, but this could be a banner year for the Vikings over in LeBray. So those are two games I had my eyes on. And Saturday I was getting the updates via our group chat, and got to watch a few minutes here and a few minutes there of the Valley LeBray game. And I got to tell you, LeBray impressed me. LeBray impressed me a lot, because those are games that you're not promised, you're not given, and a lot of people are writing you off, and all of a sudden they flip that script right on its side, and they had Valley flailing. And I loved, everybody knows how much I'm an Andy Hake fan, right? I'm a huge, one of my good friends, consider him a very, very good friend, and a guy that I appreciate what he does. And he didn't back away. He didn't pout. He didn't cry. He just said, our guys need to get better, essentially. He said, we didn't play our best game, and, we didn't stay focused. But he also credited LeBray by saying that these guys are pretty doggone good. That's a good ball team over there. So when you look at what that was, to me, that was LeBray seeing an opportunity, and Valley Christian maybe looking past their week 2 opponent in LeBray. but a perfect storm nonetheless. A perfect storm for the Vikings, and they take care of business and they get a big, big win. Big wins, things that I guess maybe we got to have this conversation again. Maybe we have to have a little chat about what the power rankings mean, right? Because, and listen, I'm going to preface this. I'm going to put an asterisk by this and tell you I don't care. Like, it's all science now. It's all point based, and people are losing their loving minds over what teams are in the power rankings, what teams are not in the power rankings. Why aren't these teams in the power rankings? Why is this team in the power rankings? Why is this team ranked here over this team? I'm going to break this down for you. And like, this is not condescending. This is just telling you how it is. We base all of our rankings off of the point system, the same exact point system that Joe Idol uses, right? So the only difference is Joe Idol separates divisions. He chops them up 1 through 7, and then we don't. We throw them all in the pot, we mix it up, and then we put it in the pan, bake it up for you every Sunday night, and then out comes the final product. Week 1 power rankings look a lot different than week 2 power rankings. And it's going to happen again and again and again. And by week 10, we're probably going to be a little bit closer, right, to where they actually should. I mean, they should be absolutely done and baked fully at that point at week 10. But you're going to notice weeks 8, 9, and 10, there probably isn't going to be a whole lot of shifting, because a lot of these teams are going to have everything is pretty much said and done. They play some of the outliers the first 3 weeks. So you give it the first 5 weeks, and then things shake up, and then steady out. So teams like South Range, right? Shocker, I'm talking about the Raiders. They're going to be fine. If you're a Raider fan out there and you're freaking out because they're not on the Ysn Power Rankings, relax. I think they're going to be there. I think they're going to be all right. Now, we saw Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, right? We've seen the Raiders win a big game against Springfield when they were supposed to lose, and we saw a really tough D2 Green come in, and the Bulldogs 21-7 win over the Raiders. But the Raiders hung tight for a long time. If they keep playing like that, if they can stay healthy, right? If they can stay healthy, they're going to be just fine. South Range is going to be just fine. People are worried about South Range right now because, again, they lost their first regular season game since 2019. They're going to be okay. Trust me, they're going to be okay. Other teams that you look at and you wonder, right? You wonder, are they going to be okay? Canfield, are they going to be able to bounce back? I mean, is that a situation where they're going to be able? I need to get the scoreboard out, by the way. I had it up. It's not a flattering angle, so I apologize. Scores. And by the way, you can go get all the scores if you go to ysnlive.com/scores. You can check out the scoreboard all the way back to Friday night. So let's take a look at some of these schools that are going to need bounce back games. You look at, I mean, Beaver Local over Salem. Salem's going to need a bounce back. Salem's 0-2. They need some help. They're going to need some help. And I know that they've got a devastating injury from one of their top players. They're going to need some help throughout this year. It's got the potential for being a really long season in Quakertown. Lisbon gets a 14-6 victory. I mean, they're still unbeaten. Nobody's talking about the Blue Devils. Nobody's talking about the Blue Devils. You know who else nobody's talking about? East Liverpool. East Liverpool hangs 50 points up in the first week. Second week, they go to Indian Creek, which Indian Creek historically is a problem for East Liverpool. Paul Cusick says, chips on the table, we're all in. 27-7 victory over Indian Creek. There were people on our message boards, on our I guess after the power rankings came out, talking trash about East Liverpool. Wait till you get to Creek. Wait till you get to Creek. Wait till Creek gets a hold of you. I think there's some crow to be eaten on those message boards. Just interesting. You know who else I think is for real? McDonald. McDonald. There's a young man I really like on this team. Now I like how this team's constructed, and it doesn't surprise me because Dan Williams is one of the best coaches in this area that gets zero attention. Zero. And we're going to try to change that. But what I can tell you is that there's a young man named Drew Zajac who is up for Big Dogs of the Valley this week. He is lights out, one of the most versatile players, super athletic, has the hair, sunshine-looking hair flowing out the back, and dude's got attitude, an attitude that I like good character off the field, on the field, not a kid you want to mess with. Not a guy you want to get in front of all the time because he's going to lower his shoulder, lower the boom. He can run past you. He can run through you. He can throw the ball over you. He's got so many different aspects to his game. Drew Zajac does. That I think that he's not he's getting zero love. He's getting zero love from anybody in the area, and it's a tough pill to swallow because McDonald, another one of those small towns, right? Another one of those small towns, and look what they had to do. They had to have a basketball player score 1 billion points in order to get a little bit of the headlines, whereas Drew Zajac is doing a little bit of everything. He's doing. I mean, he is my dude. We're going to start calling him Chef Drew because the dude just cooking, right? Just mixing it up. Everything he can do, he's. I mean, a little bit of passing, a little bit of receiving, a little bit of rushing, probably tackling, probably coaching a little bit. You throw it all in there. Drew Zajac is the complete package. So keep your eye open for that kid. Keep your eyes open for McDonald this year because I think they are on a mission. And I think they feel a little bit disrespected across the board. So keep your eyes on that. Some other ones you're definitely going to want to keep an eye on. You know, we talked about the Palestine and how they had 30-some points in week one. Their defense letting up against a very good Toronto team. They let up 48 points and were unable to push it across the end zone. This does not deter me from East Palestine, right? This does not deter me. This does not turn me away from thinking that this team is probably one of the biggest teams making strides in getting better. Their motto this year is 1% better, right? And they have become 100% better than they were last year. I can tell you that with certainty. Watching them on tape, seeing execution being laid out, you're going to look at that Toronto score and you're going to say, okay, same old Palestine team, same old bat team, same old bat channel. No, I'm telling you, East Palestine's different. There's a different feel. There's a different vibe in town that people are watching good football starting to be played. And not just from scoring touchdowns, because that doesn't happen. Remember, a touchdown is a result of so many things, 11 different assignments going right on offense. Or essentially on defense. You can score on defense too. But I'm also going to tell you that what you're going to see on tape is fundamentals being pushed in and understanding these kids are with new uniforms, right? That gets people excited. New opportunities. Some of these younger guys are getting opportunities because the Bulldogs are trying to put the best 11 on the field at all times. The best 11 on the field. And it's for me, it's exciting to watch because I remember those TCL championship seasons. I remember the first time the Bulldogs went to the playoffs. I remember when they had really good teams and they're not too far pressed from that. You've had some guys come in, talk to the team from yesteryear, which is really cool. It's really cool when you infuse alumni in that history into the future and you try to create a present. That's what you try. That's what they're trying to do in East Palestine. And listen, do not be discouraged by that score you saw on Friday night from East Palestine. I think the Bulldogs are going to be just fine when it's all said and done. I don't think we're going to be cooking goose eggs this year in Bulldog country. You know who's really impressive is Gerard. Gerard continues to impress. And my boy, I don't know where Derp is. Derp's been chirping constantly on our social media sites, talking about how good Gerard is and how we're sleeping on Gerard. And I owe him a unbelievable apology because he's right. He's absolutely right. Now we do have to get to NE8 action, and I'll put a I'll put like a bookmark on this one, right? I believe in Gerard. I believe. I mean, this Ahmed Kurd, 4 touchdowns on Friday night against Liberty, and we were high on Liberty. There's a lot of people, not just at YSN, that are very excited for this Liberty Leopard team. And Gerard went in there and owned the show. They walked out. They left no doubt about who was the better team on that night. And Ahmed Kurd, up for Big Dogs of the Valley, brought to you by Bear Brothers. He left no doubt that this kid is for real. You hear us talking about other running backs. You hear us talking about quarterbacks, especially me a lot. I love quarterback play. Kurd is here. Ahmed Kurd is here, and he could be up for Player of the Year in the early going. Way too early to pick that, right? But if through 2 weeks, Ahmed Kurd, I mean, the kid's got to have, I think it's 6 touchdowns, 7 touchdowns, something like that. To me, that's a pretty good start to a year, right? You're almost in double digits, probably going to be in double digits by the end of week 3 in touchdowns. I think if you're signing up for fantasy football, if they had that such a thing at the high school level, that kid is the #1 draft pick. And it's not close. It's not close. But there's some other folks that you'd want to pick. And this should be people that these young men are guys that you're going to want to keep an eye on because this is a young group, right? There's a lot of talent at the senior level, but underclassmen, you're looking up and down and saying, we're going to see these guys for a couple more years. And we still got a lot of meat left on the bone here in 2023. So let's not get too far out over our skis. Waterloo with a 21-0 win over Leetonia, a tough, hard-fought game. Listen, I love Coach DeVries over at Waterloo. I think he is the bee's knees. I think he is not only a great athletic director, football coach, but a great human being, right? You know I'm attracted to those people from a character side of things. I'm a fan, and I have not had the chance to interact with the new coach at Leetonia, but I'm excited to do so because I've heard nothing but great things about him. I've heard nothing but great things about him. Chris Ziegler had a long conversation with him, and in our chat, he said, Leetonia will win this year. And I know that there's a lot of people like, okay, why is he talking about Leetonia? Well, let me tell you. When everybody turned their back on YSN or had not known about YSN, Leetonia was a team that said, we don't know if we're going to have a football team, but if we do, you're more than welcome to cover them. And all of a sudden, this baby you see right before you was born, YSN. I will always, and I mean always, have a special spot in my heart, in the subcockles of my heart for Leetonia. And to watch them battle like they are right now, to watch them not only take punches, but throw some punches during these games, not literally, warms my heart. It's not always about wins and losses. Sometimes it's about the fight. Sometimes it's about the competitive spirit that these teams bring to the table, that these young men are building as 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18-year-olds. It's about that. It's about the competitive spirit. It's about what fight they have. And Leetonia has that fight. East Palestine has that fight, right? You look at this. LeBray, we saw it. They are the blueprint. From now on, people are going to look at LeBray and they're going to say, you lost everything. Coaches, players, you lost everything. How did you come back? Just a year later, after a tough season for the Vikings, how did you come back and achieve success against one of the area's best teams? and sneak up on everybody and do it. And now you're on the radar, and I bet you LeBray feels pretty good about themselves, as they should. The Letonias, the East Palestines, the Wellsvilles. You look at some of these teams that are hanging on. They need to look at that blueprint. They need to get on the horn and start making phone calls, and they say, how do you do this? Make a friend. Find those same building blocks. Make it a Lego. I mean, you can go – this is a copycat world we're living in, right? Go figure out what they're doing, how they're doing it, with the numbers they're doing it, with the athletes that they're doing it with. Copy paste. Control C, Control V, right? That's all it is. That's all it is. Some other teams I've got listen, you guys all heard me on 21 on Thursday. Jackson Milton is for real. Caden Mitchell is just an absolute super soaker slinger. My guy is just hosing down defenses with whatever he's got. I mean, he's got such a great repertoire. He is Batman. He is like, well, he can't be Robin because he's a Blue Jay, right? So he's Batman. So out of the utility belt, he can use his legs. He can use his cannon for an arm. He's got good receivers. He's got guys that are in the right places at the right moments, and they put a hurting on Newton Falls. I thought this game was going to be close. I really thought Newton Falls' rushing attack was for real. I really thought these guys are for real, and I still feel that way. But when you have a quarterback as dynamic as Caden Mitchell, it's tough to slow him down. And the kid's red hot right now. Red hot. We're talking about red hot quarterbacks. We can't go very far without bumping elbows with one of the best quarterbacks that had his coming out party on Friday night, Mr. Zach Haas of Boardman. Not the outcome that he wanted on the scoreboard. And I guarantee you he would trade those 31 pass completions in out of 36 pass completions. 5 misses, by the way. Pretty good, especially if you're a junior and looking to kind of bolster those stats a little bit. Lake couldn't stop him. He only passes for 1 touchdown, okay? But he throws 36 times during the game. Coach Dota believes in this young man, and he said last night on the show, as a junior, he's 145 pounds soaking wet. Now he's a senior, now he's a junior. As a sophomore, start over again. As a sophomore, he's 145 pounds soaking wet. As a junior, he's training with YSU. He's training with Tommy Zetz. He's training with a couple other guys. And then all of a sudden, you can tell things are starting to slow down. The puzzles are starting to be put together by Zach Haas, because when you complete 31 out of 36, ladies and gentlemen, that's what you like to call pinpoint accuracy. That is surgical. So now when you can start putting that accuracy, that surgery that he's performing behind center together with a guy like Tomas Andujar, right? With a guy that's so dynamic, that was slinging the ball last year for you and catching the ball and running the ball, and you add in some of these primetime players that Boardman has, there's a lot of potential there, folks. There's a lot of potential. They've got another big obstacle in Cheney, who had the week off. So Cheney's got 2 weeks to prepare for Boardman. They've got 2 weeks to prepare for the Spartan team. And they understand, quite honestly, they understand everything's on the line here. Because if Cheney goes 0-2, it's going to be a struggle to get back in the rat race for the playoffs. No matter, you missed a game, right? And a point system that might help you down the road, but it could hurt you. I mean, it's a dice roll at that point. Boardman knows if they get a win here, not only is it big for them locally, but it's that shot in the arm that they need to take them the next 7 weeks. I really do believe that. I believe whoever wins this game, and this is must-see streaming here, folks, whoever wins this game has an advantage going in the rest of the season. I'm not saying they're going to win every game, but I'm saying this is going to give them a push, a hard push on that swing going upwards. That's what it's going to do for these teams. This is a huge game. Cheney, Boardman, at Cheney, a lot going on outside the lines. Boardman, they're trying to get focused. They're trying to get locked in. Cheney's doing the same thing, but they've got a lot of balls in the air to juggle, right? Boardman, I think, has the advantage from a standpoint of focusing. Cheney has the advantage of 2 weeks of preparation for Boardman. And a guy that used to be their head coach, right? Understands, coach some of these guys, knows strengths, knows weaknesses. And you look at the other side, let's not, let's call it out. That Boardman team wants to make sure that Coach Antrim knows that he left something special. That's just how it is. That's the storyline. That's the storyline of this game on Friday. There's a lot of people asking questions. Are they going to play it at Cheney? Are they going to play it at Boardman? Where are they playing? As of right now, folks, in talking to Coach Dota, they're playing it at Cheney. But there's always if things go south, you can play it at Boardman. You can play it at a neutral field. I think they'd end up at Boardman, though. I really do. But I don't think we have to worry about that. I don't think we have to worry about that quite yet, and I don't think we have to worry about it at all, quite frankly. I think the rumor mill is just spinning, and there's no, at least to this point, there's no truth to any of it. So we'll see how that goes. Canfield, we talked about them just a minute. They went down to Mansfield and lost by 10, 24-14. So they both state champions with their first losses in a long time. In a long time. I know Canfield let one slip last year, but there's a lot of champions on those teams, especially when you talk about Canfield. They got 19 seniors. 19 seniors they're bringing back, and they've tasted loss before, but they know they're going to bounce back. They know that that's a good team in Mansfield. That's a fast team, an aggressive team, a big team. That's why you schedule those games. You schedule games with schools bigger than you, both physically, divisionally, things of that nature. JFK, perfect example. They keep scheduling. I don't think they play anybody in D7 until the playoffs. It's a dice roll. You're playing guys that are bigger than you, that can have longer rosters than you. But at the same time, if you can make it the battle of attrition, if you can make it healthy to week 11, got yourself a chance. A chip in a chair, right? A chip in a chair is all you need. And we're starting to see what we originally thought would happen is teams scheduling up in the first 3 weeks. Or if they're independent, scheduling up the whole season. Because you still got a decent chance to make the playoffs. You beat a couple of these big teams or play close games with these big teams, and all of a sudden, there's some momentum as you head towards the playoffs. So those are some teams that I've got my eye on. You can't count out Louisville, right? Just a quick shout out to Louisville for what they're doing. Congratulations, Matt Lucido, for being the big dog of the Valley, first one of the year. How do you count out West Branch? Sticking it to Woodridge, 34-13. A big win for Western Reserve over Conneaut, 28-24. There's some good teams in this area. Poland stands out. How do you not talk about Poland? 2-0, beating Howland and Salem just to open the year. Southern looked good on Friday against Crestview. And Crestview under a new regime, they're going to figure things out. I really do believe that. I think the Rebels will. But Rich Wright, dude just gets it. I don't know that we've ever picked anybody heavily over Southern since they've joined YSN. I don't know. I don't think we have, and I don't think we will. But folks, what did I tell you about Springfield? I told you they were going to have a tough task in week 2. I told you it was going to be a dogfight. I was wrong. I still think Brookfield's a good team. Don't get me wrong. But boys and girls, holy crap. Sean Guerrero's got his guys playing. 42-7. 42-7 over a Brookfield team that is big, fast, strong, hungry. Nobody was hungrier than the Tigers on Friday night. I can tell you that with gusto. Sean Guerrero probably bit off some apples, so to speak, last week, and the Tigers came out and they were ready. They looked good across the board. So congratulations to Sean Guerrero, the Tigers, getting their first dub of the season. I think, I mean, they got Geneva this week, I believe. This could be very interesting season for the Tigers. It could be another really successful year. I counted them somewhere between 8-2 and 9-1, and I'm not going back on that one. I'm not going back on that one. Fitch loses a barn burner to Central Valley. I think people here don't realize just how good Central Valley is, and for TJ Parker to get them on the schedule and to not back down, to not blink. I mean, you're talking about a program that sends dudes to the pros, and that's where TJ wants his program to be. So, to borrow Ric Flair's saying, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And Fitch was daggone close. They were daggone close. 36-35. Just couldn't pull it out at the end there. But a lot of good games on Friday. Again, you can check them all out, ysnlive.com. You can go buy the video, $2.99. We're not trying to bust your wallets, but you can go get them all there. You can also just look at the scores. And also, don't forget about the summaries, the stories that we're putting up. Make sure these kids get the spotlight that they deserve. I know our guys are working incredibly hard to get these stories out for you. So make sure that you're checking out those stories. Parents, it should be printable form now. So if you want to use them and keep them for your records and their whatever they are, the scrapbooks and things of that nature, should be able to do it now a little easier than ever. We're going to take a break. When we come back, I got a special tribute that we're going to pay to someone very special to me. That's all coming up right here on the Ysn Power Hour, brought to you by our good friends over at Toyota of Warren.
We believe expectations are made to be exceeded. At the new Toyota of Warren, it's about more than just getting a great deal. It's about service you can count on and a friendship you can trust. Year after year, we've done what we do best. We've gone the extra mile so you could too. Because we know it's just not about buying a new car. It's the start of a new adventure. Toyota of Warren, driven by you.
As Comco celebrated 70 years in 2022, we have much to be thankful for. We are proud of the Comco culture as we serve our customers with Comco Care with our premier customer service, quality parts, and on-time delivery. The partnerships we have with our customers and our community are second to none. We thank you for your continued support. We are proud to be part of this community and will continue to offer great jobs for great people.
Change. This one word can make you break out in a cold sweat. But with change comes wisdom, experience, and understanding. At Myers Family Insurance, we can help make changes in Medicare, insurance, and retirement a positive experience for you and your family. We've gone through changes, like our new office and new faces to help our family of clients too.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com or find us on Facebook.
Your Your culinary adventure awaits at Legends Food and Drink. Experience a welcoming ambiance while you explore our appetizing menu featuring over 20 meals under $20 and over 30 lunches for $12 or less. Our private dining room seat between 10 and 20 at no additional cost. And don't forget our spacious 35-seat bar for your favorite sporting event. Book your special occasion in our elegant banquet room that seats up to 150 comfortably. Legends Food and Drink, a taste you'll remember. Market Street and Route 224 in Boardman.
All right. It is it's Tuesday, I believe 29th. Yeah, 29th of August. So I mentioned that there's some stuff going on in Unpack, and I know this is probably not going to be the most professional that I'm going to be or I've ever been on this show, and we're just going to get real for a few minutes here. I don't think it'll last 20 minutes. We'll probably cut it a little bit short. But I'm just going to open things up a little bit and then let you know and just talk and hopefully it makes sense. For those of you who know me, you know that my family is incredibly important to me. You know that I try to make my family bigger with my friends, with people I care about, with my YSN family, with my actual family, with my friends, and things of that nature. And on Friday at just before 8:30, I received a phone call that no person ever wants. No person ever can prepare for as much as mentally you're ready for it, as much mentally as you think that you can handle it. My mother had passed away, and my mom, who I'm a mama's boy. I am. I'm not ashamed to say it, especially now. My mom meant the world to me for so many reasons. My mom meant the world to me because Sue Yoakley, by the way, Mama Sue was the biggest supporter that I'll ever have outside of my wife. And that's saying something because there wasn't a time that my mom ever counted me out, whether it was with my grades, whether it was with sports, whether it was business, whether it was life. There wasn't a time where Sue Yoakley ever doubted what was feasible, what was possible. One of my favorite stories is I think I've told everybody here before, I wasn't a real great academic individual. I was more of an athlete than a student athlete. Didn't really care much in high school about my grades. But she knew in order for me to accomplish the life that I wanted to have, and she wanted for me, that I needed to go to college, that I needed to find something. She needed to find something to be the carrot to dangle in front of the horse. And that's what baseball was to her. Baseball to me was a ticket to being a professional athlete, to fortune and fame, and playing a game that I love for the rest of my life. And, all the great things that you saw and all the big contracts that you saw growing up in the 90s. She saw it as a way to get her baby boy to a college, to get a degree, to have a shot at a life that my dad and my mom didn't really chase. We grew up we weren't poor, right? But we had to work for everything that we had, and they did an unbelievable job. My parents were photographers when I was born, like not photographers like you see now, photographers like you see the old days in Kmart, right? That's what they did. That's how they met. That's how they fell in love. That's how they spent time together. And then when it was tough to pay the bills, my mom, Sue Yoakley, took time and went to nursing school. She was working basically 2 full-time jobs and raising 2 kids, my sister Jennifer and myself, at a very young age. And what happened during those years transformed who I became, transformed, I know, who my sister became. along the way. We learned hard work. We learned what it's like to work for everything you have, what it's like to have your back against the ropes. We learned at a very young age that nothing is to be taken for granted. We learned at a very young age that if you want something, you've got to roll up your sleeves and you've got to work for it. And while my sister's, I like to say normal size, she's a beautiful human being with great athletic talent and can run distances I would never even think about. Was a great softball player, was a great volleyball player. I was the guy that had very little talent and a lot of hard work and a lot of a lot of grit and determination. And I get that from my mom, along with a lot of stubbornness, and along with a lot of compassion and trying to help people. And I remember that when I got to college, she told me all about how I got there, right? My broadcasting journey began in my freshman year of high school, being a PA announcer for the freshman team. And then sophomore year, it went so well that they asked me to be a varsity. So I was for the next 3 years. And then I went to college for broadcast communications, where I started at Ohio Northern, got transferred to Westminster. And every step along the way, my mom was supporting what was going on. She saw the puzzle pieces being put together but way before I ever did. And the thing about this, guys and gals, is I like to think that I see everything 2 steps ahead. I like to think, I was a catcher. I like to call and set things up two pitches ahead. And I get that from my mom. And I didn't realize that until I got to college and I started the real life, so to speak. My mom is stronger than anybody will ever know. My mom is incredible, but my mom was hurting. We lost my dad 15 years ago. And nothing was ever the same after that. I lost my dad, which I think everybody realizes. My sister obviously lost her father as well. And a lot of people lost a great friend in Dan Euclid. But what I can tell you is that when you lose a parent, it's a lot different than losing a spouse. And I know for that week of my dad's funeral and services and the week after he passed away, that there was a lot of, my mom was a rock. She was a rock. I mean, barely showed any emotion, just made sure that the kid, her kids were okay. The family was okay. People that wanted to say goodbye could say goodbye in the way that they wanted to. And she's back with them now. And as long as sad as I am, that I'll never be able to let her see some of the promises that I made to her along the way. I know that she's happy, she's healthy, she's better. But one of the promises, one of the things we talked about was when she would get better. Now in May, she had heart surgery. She's had a couple heart surgeries since then. Her health declined, and then it got good again. She felt better. The last time I talked to her was last Tuesday, a week ago today, and she sounded good, but she sounded tired. And as you get those feelings, and I know some of you have never gone through anything like this, and I hope maybe you never have to. But I know mom's at peace, and I know she's happy, and I know that when we talked about her getting better and her coming on this show for Mother's Day of 2024 and talking as much as she wants, because she's been just going nuts. She wants to talk about how all of this came to be, how I came to be. And I thought Mother's Day would be a really good time for that. But obviously, this Mother's Day wasn't the time for that, as she was battling health problems and she wanted to keep everything private. So what I want to tell you is that I am, and it's going to sound easy. I mean, I love my mom. I miss my mom. I'll miss her for a long time. And I know a lot of you, miss your parents, and some of you have had parents that have passed on as well. But I'm going to give a shout out because I always wanted to do this, but I want to shout out all the moms out there for everything that we put you through, from sports to, playing catch, to running us to a practice, to, finding time, to do it all. I'm blessed with a great mom, but I've married a great mom as well, and it doesn't matter. Motherhood isn't going to be pretty. It's never going to be clean. It's never going to be the, leave it to Beaver style. Motherhood and parenthood is messy. And what I want to tell you, all of you out there, whether you're a student athlete, you need to thank your mom, thank your dad. If you're a parent, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you because sometimes you never get the chance to say thank you. You never get the chance to say how much that a person means to you until they're gone. The person, a mom is a person that believes in you more than you believe in yourself. That was my mom. There was things that happened that I thought were divine intervention, and you find out years later it's your mom, working behind the scenes. If you have your parents around you, make sure that you say you love them. Make sure that you go give them a hug, a kiss, high five, whatever it is that you guys do. It's such a special relationship. And parents, you never get nearly the credit that you deserve, especially moms. The moms out there that are busting their asses to play catch in the backyard with their little guy or little gal just to get them a little bit better so they can accomplish their dreams. When they're watching TV and they're watching their favorite baseball player, telling them that it's possible. There's a whole world full of people that are going to tell you that it's not possible. But there's one person that's going to tell you that it is. That was my mom. When everybody told me to keep my day job, after my dad passed away, it was hard, right? When I started YSN, there were so many people telling us it's never going to work, you're never going to change the way media is in this area. It's Youngstown. It's tough. It's not technology driven. And I remember the words out of her mouth were, kid, if you believe in it, it's going to work. Because you're going to work harder. You're going to do everything that you need to do to shove it up those people's tailpipes. And at that point, it wasn't for me. It was for her and my dad and my wife and my, now it's for my kids. It's not easy. This world that we live in is not easy. And there's a lot of people that don't want you to succeed. But I can tell you, for a lot of us, that person that does always want us to succeed, the person that you always want in your corner and is going to be in your corner forever, no matter if it's on this earth or otherwise, is your mom. And at the end of the day, it's people like that. It's people like Sue Yoakley that the rest of us benefit from. It's the person who is selfless, thoughtful, kind, beautiful, caring, passionate, chip on their shoulder type people that care about one another, care about the goodness in people's hearts, could care less about what poison people want to put into the well. It's those people. It's my mom, who, God rest her soul, I'm excited to see what the rest of this life holds, but there's no doubt in my mind. I'm praying that you and Dad are back together, and you're getting a bird's eye view and a beautiful view of what your kids, your grandkids, and your friends are doing on your behalf. I miss you. I love you. I appreciate everybody's kind words and the overwhelming responses to what happened on Friday. And I'm going to be honest with you and try to do this holistically. I try to answer every single text that I possibly can. It's not going to be easy, but it's awesome to have friends like you. It's awesome to have people like you that are there and understand what this is and understand that it might take some time and it might take some getting used to for a little bit because it's a new normal to not be able to call your mom or see their mom comes on the phone anymore. Doesn't pop up yo-yo. Call your folks. Call your mom. Even if you're in a fight, especially if you're in a fight, if you're not seeing things eye to eye, you need to call your parents. You need to call your son or daughter. Just tell them you love them. 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 That's all you need to do. Just do it because you never know. You never know when that last chance is coming. That's all I got. That's all I got. Thanks for listening to that. Thank you to all my friends. Thank you to my wife. I know she's watching. Thank you. I know I thank you all the time, but thank you publicly. I know you don't need it. You don't want it, but my wife is my rock. She always will be. I mean, she's been through both of these with me, and the stuff that we're going through on an individual basis. She's amazing. So thank all of you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate you, the love, the passion, the caring, the messages, each and every one of them, and the kindness in your heart to understand and be patient with me. So thank you. I will see you tomorrow. Scotty will be here. We're not going to cry. We're not going to be emotional. We're going to talk probably about Browns and Steelers at some point. God bless you, and we'll see you tomorrow right here on the Ysn Power Hour, brought to you by Toyota of Warren.
Ysn thanks you for watching this presentation of your